So I think this is everyone's favorite section. How much money will my child earn right after they graduate? So one thing is that there is this beautiful 15-minute video that we have created which explains the entire placement process, right? And I'm sure a lot of you have questions.
First, introduce yourself, why you are probably the best person to speak about.
Sure. So one of the things about IIT is that, students run everything by themselves. So in fact, messes, hostels, and the kind of food you eat, and even placements, for example, all of this is done by the students themselves. So I was the placement head in my final year in college, and I was also a part of the team for a long time. And the team's actually 250 people. We take care of the entire placements and internships of the entire institute, right? Be it from calling companies, onboarding students, setting up the website, negotiating packages, figuring out what slots, which companies will come, making the rules and regulations, implementing them, enforcing them, making sure the most number of students get placed. All of this is done by us. And not trying to brag, but in my time we had the blessed placement season that IIT has ever had. But I think that's also a factor of, yeah, and I think that's also a factor of the job conditions and opportunities of that time. So this is the video. I will let you guys see it later. It's a huge 15-minute video which explains the entire process. Basically, in your pre-final year, that's in your fourth year, third year if you're a BTech, fourth year if you're a dual, you sit for placements, right? That's in your 7th or your 9th semester. Apply for, register, apply for companies, your resume is verified, you sit, and then you have to give the interviews in December. All the interviews, December 1st is when placements start. There is a day 1, there is a day 2, and companies come on those days. And we slot these companies based on a lot of things. And some of them are basically how much they pay, what is their role, what's the profile, what location is the job, is it international, is it a job of high interest among students, does the company have a good reputation with IIT, do they take a lot of students. All of these things are factored in, and we give every company a slot. Students sit for placements and then proceed. Once they get a job offer, they're out of the process. They cannot sit for any more jobs. This is a standard practice across IITs and across a lot of government and private colleges. The reason this is done is they want everyone to get an equal opportunity and not really, have the brightest student take like 25 job offers, which is also why the most lucrative and the most interesting job offers come right at the beginning of those days. So, and again, we understand that some companies might, core companies might pay a little lesser than software or finance. So we also make it a point that every department's core companies which are paying the most and which students are interested in the most come at the earlier slots. So for example, if I'm a student who wants a software job, I will have an opportunity in the day 1 slot. If I'm a student who wants a core job, I'll still have that opportunity in the day 1 slot. So this is one thing that's happened. And if you look at it, the max salary last year was 4.3 crores. Okay, it went to a student, and 4.3 crores, as all of us know, is a lot of money, right? It's probably more than what most of us have made in many, many years, right? So one thing I want to tell you is that when you look at numbers, right? When you look at median salaries and maximum salaries, a lot of these things are not just in this case, in most of the maximum salary cases, right? A lot of the things in your CTCs is not just cash. For example, any company, if you go to, let's say if some company's CTC is 50 lakhs that is advertised on the IIT job portal, not just IIT Madras, any IIT, there'll be like a 2 to 3 lakh joining bonus, which you'll have to return if you leave the company in 2 years. Okay, there's a 5 lakh performance bonus, which is given to you only after the completion of 1 year, based on how you have performed, right? There's a relocation bonus, which is given to you one time, which actually you end up spending trying to move to that new city, right? And then When all of this is removed, you have around 40 lakhs something left. And then you have your ESOPs or RSUs. If you're in a corporate, it's called RSUs. If you're in a startup, it's ESOPs. So you get a lot of money through stock options, which are vested over a period of 4 years. So first year you get a certain amount of the stock, second year you get a certain amount, third year, fourth year. And once all of that is combined, it comes to, let's say, 10, 12 lakhs. So if it's 50 LPA is the CTC, when you remove all of these things, you get maybe only, 20 lakhs in hand, right? And then you have your taxes, you have to pay your insurance premiums and all of that. And if you're not living, I live with my parents, so I don't have to pay rent. But, if you move to a city where you have to live alone on your own, you have to spend easily around 20, 25K on rent and other things, right? So even in median, and some companies choose to report the ESOPs and everything as a part of their CTC. And some companies choose to report only the basic in-hand package. And the CTCs that are applicable every year, not one-time things that are paid, right? So effectively what ends up happening across a lot of colleges, a lot of universities, is that these numbers are not very accurate, but it is not our responsibility to correct this. It's our responsibility to present this data as it is to all of you. So that's what we have done here. And another thing I'd like to add is that there are a lot of, if you look at this video, there's a table which talks about a lot of core jobs and the highest paid core jobs of that department every year. And if you look at that number has been increasing throughout the last 2-3 years, right? And another thing to note is that international offers also are increasing. In my placement head year, we had, for internships, we actually had companies giving offers in London, Hong Kong, Amsterdam. There was Dubai, there was Japan, there was Texas, and there was one more city in the UK. There was one more city in the US. There were like 7-8 countries from where students actually got interns. And they're real interns, all of them got visas, went there, came back, the company took care of everything. So they had a great time. And a lot of these also end up becoming, full-time offers. So like how I said, you sit for placement in your 7th or 9th sem if you're BTech or dual. If you want to sit for interns, you sit 1 year before that, in your 5th or in your 7th semester, right? And the process is more or less the same, except that it happens throughout the year because, you are trying to get an internship when you are studying doing your academic coursework. One of the largest complaints professors have is, this student didn't come to my class, this student didn't do my assignment because they had a placement test or they had an internship test. So, which is why I say that, some students try to take a lesser load on credits over time. And one more thing is, I think a lot of people ask me about scope. And every year there's been this one person, when I introduce myself as I studied chemical engineering, one person immediately is like, oh, but chemical engineering has no scope. So if you look at this list, right, there's core, there's non-core, there's product, software, finance, supply chain consulting. How many of the parents here are doing one of these jobs? Yeah, see, the number is very less. It's probably like less than 5%, less than 10% of the total audience of parents who are doing these jobs. So I'd just like to point out to all the parents here that, these jobs are not the only jobs in the world. There are so many jobs out there.
Just add one thing. I think the idea that these are not the only jobs in the world, I think is a very important point. You see this data, right? 18 lakhs is the median salary. I'll offer one more time. Okay? 18 lakhs, I'll give you a written offer in 2 weeks after you join IIT Madras. How many of you are up for it? Okay, I will reiterate the fact. 18 lakhs is the median salary, which means half of you are going to be satisfied with less than 18 lakhs. Okay, that's the median salary. Now I'll remake the offer. Half of you will be working for less than 18 lakhs per year as your first salary. How many of you will now take my offer of 18 lakhs? Still nobody. Manish, does it make any sense? Okay, one last point. As Nikhil introduced, I was the Dean for Alumni and Corporate Relations at IIT Madras until about 6-7 months ago. In that role, I had the absolute honor and privilege of working with over 60,000 IITM alumni. Manish is an alumnus and he was the chair of the IIT Hyderabad chapter of our alumni association. So he knew all the Hyderabad alumni as well. 60,000 alumni of IIT Madras over the last 60 some years. And part of my job was to do fundraising for IIT Madras. So I had a reason to track the richest of the rich alumni of IIT Madras. Okay, and I did a good job of it, I must say. You can go read newspaper articles about what we did.
I'll just tell, sorry Professor, I think in Professor Mahesh's final year of his deanship, they raised around 513 crores of grants and alumni funding that will be spent to develop the institute.
Okay, so I know richness very well. Okay, I can smell rich people in this room as much as I don't want to or want to, right? Now, I made a list of the 100 richest alumni of IIT Madras out of 60,000. And you track their life back to when they graduated as a 21-year-old. And you compare their salary on that day to their median salary of that day. How many of you think they were this 4.3 crore people? Very, very, very few. They all started at median or below median. But they ended up being among the top 100 richest alumni of our IIT Madras. I'm talking because somewhere richness is also a factor. Placement is an important thing. Package is important, no doubt about it. But I want to give you the hard facts. Okay, they didn't start at median salaries. They started near median salary. But they went on to end up in the top. Now, why did they do that? How did they do that? How did they do that is the real question you should ask yourself. Greater than 90+% of the top 100 richest alumni are today or even somewhere in their professional lives were not working for somebody else. They started their own companies to where they became employers of someone else. Okay, I can give you examples of, you can go find on our website all of the people. So if you were wanting to be that 4.3 crore person, chances are, there's nothing wrong in getting that. Don't get me wrong. Don't turn it down if it falls in your lap. But that's not the way you make a wealth. Your family's nest egg. If you, let's say, I worked very hard to get into IIT. When I retire, I want my bank balance to be 100 crores, 100 crores. That's the number I want to hit. You don't get there by working for somebody else in India today. That's the reality. You simply don't get there by getting 50% more than the median salary. Simply not the pathway. You have to do something on your own, take the chance, take the risk, and reap the upside. Okay, now Perplexity is a company we talked about. I saw several hands go up when I said, how many of you know of Perplexity? How many of you know of Perplexity? Okay, some of you have used, right? It's obviously one of the Silicon Valley's most talked about companies today. Would it come to you as a surprise if I told you Perplexity, Arvind Srinivas started Perplexity 17 years ago. 17 years ago is 2008. Do you think life in 2008 for an Arvind Srinivas, letting go of some salary, doing some stupid startup that says, I will answer questions in 2025, would have sounded like an idiot, right? But that's Perplexity's story. You take any one of these 100 people that got there, they had an idiosyncrasy like this. Okay? So remember, while these are good numbers to seek, don't make them the sole rubric of your entire decision making. 18.1 greater than 18.0. 18.2 greater than 18.1. Right? Don't go by that. Please understand. I want you to understand how people become wealthy. That's one thing I know very well, and as a professor I want to tell you. People don't become wealthy by tracking median salaries or even the top line salary. People become wealthy by doing something they're passionate about. And nothing wrong in accruing wealth like that. Okay?
The learning quotient,
peer group.
the peer group, and which stream you want to pursue for maybe a longer period of time.
And where you are willing to learn, willing to continually learn.
But my question is, sir, that I don't know, don't you think the alumni, the sir professors around you, which you get in institutes like IIT, should be one of the big factors also?
Of course.
Because a student probably who has not got a rank to get the desired stream in IITs, can he think of taking a lower stream because of the institute, the professors, the alumni, the corporate relations that you have, and build a career and through minors or through electives or somewhere? So what do you suggest on
That's
that?
a good question, and I'll give you my most honest answer. As a parent who had a child go through this last year, and 4 years ago, I have two kids. Both of them are now done with the JEE madness. I will tell you the honest answer. Please have a seat, sir. Please take your seat. I think when I said surround yourself with the best of students, okay, in brackets really, there's also and the best of professors, best of faculty, right? Because you would assume that the best students will go where there is good learning to happen, and that is broadly what it is today. So as a general rule of thumb, and this is clearly my colored advice to this group, my colored advice, that a branch at an IIT, any branch at an IIT versus let's say a computer science at a non-IIT, my personal inclination is please go to the IIT. It doesn't matter which IIT, the peer group of students that you have, and as you said, sir, the breadth of activities, both academic and non-academic, that are available at any IIT. I'll say, don't discriminate between generation 1, generation 2, generation 3 in that respect. They're all very, very good institutions. Okay, so this is my colored advice, that please choose the peer group that you will get at an IIT versus at any other institution. They're qualitatively very different in that sense. Does that give you as straightforward an answer as I can?
Yeah. So I think this is everyone's favorite section. How much money will my child earn right after they graduate? So one thing is that there is this beautiful